everyone, welcome to the RotoGrinders Morning Grind Podcast. I'm your host, Stevietpfl. It's Tuesday. It's November 1st. It is 2022. 4 basketball games to talk about here today. Nice slate. 4-gamer. It's an interesting slate, too. We have 2 games that could be pretty fast-paced. We don't know what Brooklyn's going to look like on the second end of the back-to-back, and then you have Orlando at OKC, 2 teams that are in rebuild mode. So very interesting slate. Joined today by my good buddy Keith Eister, Eys819. Keith, what's happening, my friend?
Yeah, not too much here. These ugly games between 2 bad basketball teams are like DFS gold sometimes. So very excited to break down Orlando OKC with you. Like, we get turnovers that speed up the game, and there's some young offensive talent on each team. So definitely an interesting one there for DFS purposes. If you're like just an NBA fan and you didn't play DFS, you probably wouldn't be all that interested. But for us, that's like a gold mine game. Definitely interested to get into that one. I need to tell some football here real quick on Monday night as we record. Like, Cleveland is just putting it to Cincinnati right now, and I'm shook. Like, I built all my lineups for the opposite outcome with Cincinnati to kind of come out here and put it to Cleveland, but that's not how it's going at all.
Well, I told you, like, I legitimately forgot there was a football game, so I'm glad. I would have built the same way. Like, yeah, what a weird game. And, like, no Jamar Chase, definitely seems to be having some effect. But, T. Higgins doesn't look okay. So, yeah, it'd be really interesting to see what happens with Cincinnati going in. Or they'll be back at home against Carolina this weekend for Week 9. But, yeah, they don't look the best on offense tonight for sure. And Cleveland has a sneaky good defense, man. We've talked about it for years. They have not shown up at all this year, but they've definitely shown up tonight. They're just shutting down Joe Burrow. He's thrown for 100 yards in almost 3 full quarters now.
Yeah, Myles Garrett has been a problem all game. He just keeps getting pressure. Him being back healthy, and they also got Jadeveon Clowney back, so they're starting to get healthier on defense. Like, the Browns' defense coming in, their run defense in particular, ranked really poorly, last in the league, I believe. So I was all over Joe Mixon. Clowney is a big difference maker in the run defense, and Garrett putting the pressure on Burrow. They just can't do anything. So it's the NFL. You never know. Any given Sunday, right? Or in this case, Monday. But definitely didn't expect this outcome.
It's been like that a lot this year. Teams that are supposed to win haven't won. It's been a really interesting year in that aspect of things for football. So, listen, it's a 4-game NBA slate. We can talk a little football here for sure. So, yeah, I could tilt some basketball if you want to tilt some basketball. Halliburton, who's been absolutely crushing, just disappeared. The bench made a huge run, and listen, I have a lot of Duarte in season long, so it doesn't hurt my feelings to see him have a 38-minute game and finally show up. But man, Halliburton, rough game.
Yeah, lots of turnovers, and Duarte, it seemed like they were souring on him a little bit. Obviously, he jumped in the starting lineup today with Nesmith being out, and boy, same thing happened over the weekend, and he did not do anything with the opportunity. But today, in this matchup against Brooklyn, dude just went off. So good for him. He's a good player. I like him long term. So good to see him get back in the mix. Hopefully, they continue to work him in.
It's like a second-year player, right?
Yep.
It's his second year. So, still some growing pains there.
For sure.
First year, second year, third year players need minutes. That's how they're going to get better. Look at,
and he was dealing with the injury earlier too. He got injured last year and missed the back half of the season. So good to see him back and performing well. He was a guy that surprised early on in the season last year, and then dealt with the injury. So to see him kind of out of the rotation almost at the beginning of this year was a bit surprising, but good to see him get back involved.
So much talk around Atlanta, Boston, Miami in the East. I mean, I think we really need to start having the conversation of who matches up with Toronto. If Barnes and Siakam keep playing this well, like the East, the Toronto Raptors are a force to be reckoned with in the East if they continue to play well like this.
Yeah, I mean, Siakam has been just amazing. Van Vliet out tonight, and they like Scotty Barnes is legit too. Like, yeah, I agree. There's some talent on that team.
They beat Atlanta by 30 tonight without Van Vliet.
Yeah, and Atlanta was fully healthy. So
yeah, Atlanta's good. So
yep,
4 NBA games to talk about today's podcast. Hope everyone is enjoying the YouTube streams. If you want to interact with the show while we're live, night before recording the First Look podcast, always feel free to come hang out, drop some comments, and try to pay attention to them. I've had to change my way I record podcasts, and I'm getting used to it finally. So if you want to come hang out during podcasts, feel free to leave comments, and we'll always look at them. It's always fun to look at that. So also, if you haven't checked out Sleeper Fantasy, check them out. I keep saying it. I love what they're doing over there. Their platform is just so incredibly easy to use. Morning grind game failed yesterday, so Keith, we got a little bit of pressure to bounce back. We got Siakam right. It was 39.5 points, rebound, and assists, and he had 49. But Sabonis did not do us any favors in that amazing matchup against Charlotte. Crushed them on the boards. Had 16 rebounds, had 7 assists, only 9 points. Only shot the ball 9 times. Season low for him. So that didn't work out. Halliburton didn't do his thing. So we got some work to do here on the morning grind game for Sleeper. If you haven't checked them out, 100% deposit bonus up to $100. Use the promo code Grinders. That puts you instantly in the RotoGrinders squad chat as well. And you can copy picks. You can talk in there. Have a good time. So check them out if you haven't already. We get started here with Golden State at Miami, 226.5 total. In this game, DiVincenzo and Iguodala out for Golden State. Oladipo, Yurt-7 out for Miami. We look at two of the better teams in the NBA, just in general. Like when we look at so I say that Miami has been a middle of the road defensive team. Golden State has struggled defensively. We know that's going to change eventually. They're going to end up being 2 of the top 10 net rating teams in the NBA by the end of the season. Like, it's just a matter of time before that happens. So what are we looking at here for Golden State?
Yeah, like Miami is never a team I like to target. Middling defense so far this season. I do think Miami overperformed a little bit last year, but their defense should be pretty legit here. Golden State is always a tough team to figure out. They did rest some guys in their last game, so we should be good to go here. I don't know if they play tomorrow or not, but that's always a concern when talking about this Golden State team. I don't know. I don't love this matchup. It's only 4 games, so you probably need a piece or two from this game. But the overall game environment is not my favorite. I definitely prefer the other 3 games. Like Curry and at 9,600 with Clay being back, it's harder for him to access the ceiling. He's off to a really good start this year. I don't know if I want to make him a priority spend up on a slate that we have some other guys like Booker is cheaper than him. I would much rather play him. Durant or Kyrie in that Brooklyn-Chicago game. Like Curry's amazing. I just don't know if I love him in this matchup. Going down into the cheaper guys, Wiggins has played really well. His price tag is fine. I don't know how much ceiling there is there, and there's some risk that he could just not show up. Like he does that from time to time where he doesn't score as much. So I mean, oddly, I think Klay Thompson at 5,500 is in play. The minutes are starting to grow. He played 32 minutes in the last game. He's a guy that you need to be making his shot. He's not going to contribute a ton in the rebounds and assist categories, but he can certainly put points in the bucket. He's cheap. I'm willing to take some shots there. Jordan Poole at 6,600, kind of on the fence on that one too. Like similar to Clay, like you need him to score a bunch of points. I won't be game stacking this one at all. I don't think. I'm just looking for the one Golden State guy that can pop here. Draymond is cheap, but not a guy that I typically like to play very much. The price tag is certainly in the range where he's in play. I guess my overall feelings on Golden State is I'll probably end up underweight on Curry, overweight on Clay and Poole, a little bit of Draymond mixed in. Yeah, just not a game environment overall that I love, but we've got a short slate here, so got to find something to work here.
Curry does have the highest usage on this team at 31.5%, averaging 1.5 fantasy points per minute. Like he is the ceiling guy still on this lineup. Tough game. This seems like a game that you get Curry putting up 25 plus shots. Put up 59 fantasy points when these two teams played in Golden State. 22 shots in that game, 14 3-point attempts. He's attempted double-digit 3-point attempts in 6 of 7 games this year. Like he's still the ceiling play. That game when they played in Golden State was 123 to 110. Plenty of offense, plenty of scoring. So still a ton of upside in that one. I don't know. Like you said, it's tough. If this wasn't a 4-game slate, probably not looking too much into this. Klay Thompson getting the minutes, definitely interested in him at 5,500. If he's going to play 30 minutes, 30-plus minutes, that easing him back in thing seems more of like they're going to let him go now and play. So I'm not too concerned with his minutes situation. Really wish we'd see more minutes from Wiseman because I do think he has some serious upside, but they are very careful with him right now. So I don't think I want to play Looney, even though he's probably going to play 30 minutes in this game with this matchup. I think it's really Curry at 96 and Clay at 55. And I mean, I could see Wiggins having a good game. Screams like a good matchup for him where he's going to get a ton of rebounds and stuff. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at. And then on the Miami side, the first time these two teams played, the pace was pushed. Golden State likes to play fast. They're always a team you like to target because they like to play fast. Second fastest pace in the NBA this season. They're not playing great defense at all. I think that will change. I think their defense will get better, especially when they start getting in the rotations more with minutes. But until that happens, I think we have to have some interest here in Miami. Looking at this Miami team, I think Bam is a fantastic matchup here. I really just don't see Looney matching up well with Bam. I think Jimmy Butler or Hero, one of those two guys, has a good game here. And then, trying to find some value maybe with like a Max Struss or maybe even like, I don't think I want to go Gabe Vincent or any of these other guys. I think Struss or maybe like a Duncan Robinson, but his minutes have just kind of disappeared this season. So I think Struss off is a value play, but I'm really looking at Bam. I think he's one of the top centers on the slate. We have a lot of great centers on this slate with Gobert, Vooch, Bam, Wendell Carter Jr. Like, there's a lot of good center plays today, but I think Bam needs to be in the conversation as a top center today.
Yeah, I agree with your Bam take. When this season opened up, everybody's like, "Oh, Bam's way underpriced. He's going to smash his price tag." And he came out of the gates extremely slow. He was really bad the first 3 or 4 games. Has turned that around here recently. 7,400. This matchup against Looney, I completely agree. Like, Bam is far more athletic than Looney. Seems like Bam should really be able to get off in the spot. Definitely like that call. Tyler Hero is the other Miami guy that I think I want to play. Butler is great. There's certainly still ceiling there, but we have seen him just kind of yield to Hero as the primary scorer at times. When Hero is getting hot, he can absolutely put up a monster score. So The price tag's coming up. He's up to 7,200. We were playing him in the low 6Ks just probably a week ago. But he's in the starting lineup now. Kyle Lowry doesn't look like he wants to be a shooter at all. He's just more of the distributor in this offense. So Butler and Hero are the guys I would look to for the ceiling. And it's Hero for me that has really shown off the ceiling here recently. So because he is over $2,000 cheaper than Butler, I think that's where I'd be taking my shots here.
Cruising along, we have Chicago at Brooklyn. Back-to-back for Brooklyn. No injury report for them. No total or line out for this game yet. On the Chicago side, a lot of stuff to watch here. Ball is out. We know that. Drummond is not going to play as well. AU, Levine, and White are all questionable for this game. That is huge. If one or even two of these guys sit, whoever plays out of those three would be interesting. If all three of these guys sit, like it might be like Goran Dragic, Alex Caruso type of game. But if Levine doesn't play, I think you have to have interest in this matchup for DeMar DeRozan. Whoever plays in this game, I think you have to have some interest in Vooch in this amazing matchup against Brooklyn. This is a spot he can put up 50-plus fantasy points at 7,800. One of the reasons I said center is just so loaded on this slate. So talk to me here about the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah, really interesting here. I will note that Brooklyn rested Simmons on Monday night. So Simmons is going to play in this game. I think that the Bulls will. Yeah, I think, that was just, it was a back-to-back rest situation. Yep. The Bulls and Levine, I feel like they will play Levine in this game against Brooklyn and rest him tomorrow against Charlotte. So I feel like Levine is going to play this one. If Levine is out, it's just jam DeRozan. DeRozan's like a lock for 30 points anytime Levine sits. But I don't know. I feel like Levine's going to play this one and sit out on Wednesday night. Dosunmu was back at practice, I believe, on Monday, so feels like he's trending towards playing. That's definitely a truly questionable tag, like an actual injury situation. So we'll just have to wait and see on that one. I have interest in DeRozan and Vooch in this matchup either way, even if Levine is in there. And I know the Bulls are tough to figure out with three kind of stars, but no superstars. Like any of them can have good games. Vooch's matchup is outstanding. Like you mentioned, Brooklyn has struggled against centers. They've been a really poor rebounding team. And Monday night, I actually targeted a lot of the Pacers bigs for that reason. And then they just decided not to rebound. But I think Vucevic could absolutely put up 12 to 15 rebounds in this spot. Just a great rebounding spot for him against a smaller Brooklyn team. DeRozan is in play for me either way. He's a smash play without Levine. He'll just kind of be a piece that I play if he fits, if Levine is in there. The other guard situation, I think Alex Caruso is really interesting. He's been jumping into the starting lineup whenever Levine or Dosunmu has been out. So if Io misses, I think Caruso starts at the point, and I would be interested in him at 4,300. Just the matchup against Brooklyn is very interesting. It's a small slate. The Bulls are always a tough team to figure out, but there's certainly upside here. They're a good team overall. One of these guys at least is going to have a good game. I'm interested in Caruso for value as well. So definitely want to take some shots against Brooklyn, who's just been really bad on the defensive end this season.
Yeah, this is where we're going to potentially get some value on the slate for sure. Wait, like 7:30 lock, 7:30 game. So we'll have news before this one drops as far as like who's in, who's out. This is one of those ones you're just really going to be adjusting a lot of lineups, not just like one lineup. You're going to be adjusting a lot of lineups with this one. So
yeah, if Levine is out, DeRozan's like a jam him in type of play. If Levine is in there, DeRozan's the guy you might be playing like 5 or 10%.
Yeah, if AU sits and White plays, White could be someone that benefits. Caruso could benefit. So a lot of potential value here. Caruso 4,300, Kobe White 3,400, Goran Dragic 3,300. So watch the news on this one for sure. Brooklyn, second end of a back-to-back here. I don't think Kyrie or Durant sit in this one. I'd be shocked. I don't see Durant and Kyrie have both already played a back-to-back this season. So I'm not too concerned in this one as far as these guys playing the second end of a back-to-back. They don't play again until Friday. What are your thoughts here on the Brooklyn Nets?
Yeah, I think Brooklyn did their resting with Simmons against Indiana Monday night in preparation for the Bulls, who like Brooklyn should be better than the Bulls, but you never know. They even last season they ended up in a fight for the bottom seeding in the conference. The Bulls have a chance to be fighting for playoff seeding. I don't think Indiana is. So it seems pretty clear to me what their plan was, and it was a smart plan. Rest Simmons on Monday night and go out full force against Chicago. So I expect Simmons back in there. That was a tweet from Shams earlier today, is that he was expected to sit Monday, but he'll play Tuesday. I don't foresee them resting KD or Kyrie either. So all three should be in there. Anytime we have this conversation, I always lean to KD over Kyrie. I feel like he has a little bit better ceiling. And their price is so close right now that I'll just go KD. Feel better about his consistency. I feel better about his ceiling. Playing them together, I don't know if will be an option on the slate. It depends on how much value opens up, but they are two of the most expensive players on the slate. In fact, they're the two most expensive players. I'm not scared of the Chicago defense, but I don't know that I can spend the two highest salaries on the slate on the same team on a 4-game slate. So I'll probably be choosing between one of KD and Kyrie. I'll have exposure to both, but certainly lean more to KD. The Simmons conversation is not a fun one, and it's not going to be. Like, the dude is shooting less than 10 times a game. He's performing okay in the rebounds and assists category, but the price tag is at a place that if he did decide to take some more shots, like, he could absolutely nuke that price tag. I don't know. I think I need to see it first before I chase it. I don't know. Really curious to get your thoughts on Ben Simmons. I don't know what to do with him. It's not a comfortable play. I know the potential is there for him to smash the price, but I feel like I just don't want to chase it. Nick Claxton had another really good game Monday night. 5,800. I think he'll be out there quite a bit. Could match up with Vooch a little even. He's a guy that they've been willing to push over 30 minutes. So Claxton is in play, especially on a short slate. I don't really have any interest in the Brooklyn value pieces, like with them fully healthy. I guess Seth Curry is worth talking about. I don't know what his status will be for Tuesday. Was he on the injury report for Tuesday? I don't know if you said that.
Who's that?
He missed Seth Curry. He missed Monday for sure.
Brooklyn doesn't have an injury report.
Okay. So, yeah, I would definitely keep an eye on Seth Curry's status. Joe Harris is clearly on a minutes restriction. I don't think they're going to push him. I think Seth Curry would be the same, but Seth Curry is 4,700. The guy that can get really hot from three. On a 4-game slate, I wouldn't hate the idea. Deep tournament only, obviously, but you could take some shots there, I suppose, if he's active and starting. I would want Seth Curry starting too.
It'd be really interesting if Curry ends up sitting, but I could see them sitting Joe Harris and Curry playing. Joe Harris played 29 minutes on Monday night, so I could see them flip flopping that situation. I don't think Curry gets up to 29 minutes if Joe Harris sits. I think they'd use Patty Mills maybe for a little bit more minutes. So definitely a situation to watch. Royce O'Neal continues to play big minutes. They really just stuck with their guns. Like Durant, O'Neal, and Kyrie all played 37 plus minutes on Monday against the Pacers. So it was looking like they were going to get to rest guys, and then Duarte did Duarte things, and that game got close. So he had 30 actual points in that game. So And I could tilt again, Keith, because Brook Lopez, that game, Detroit, Milwaukee stayed super close. I was telling Keith before the show that I switched at like 6:45 from Brook Lopez to Miles Turner. Oof, was that ever wrong? So we got Orlando. We got OKC in this one. 218 total. The Thunder are 3-point favorite. On the Magic side, Anthony, Fultz, Harris, Isaacs out. Suggs questionable, which could be interesting if Suggs were to play. And then on the Thunder side, Giddey and Holmgreen are out. Let's start with my Orlando Magic going into OKC. I mean, it continues to be Banchero. I know he had a bad game last time out against Dallas, but he was eventually going to have a game where he didn't shoot 45 to 50%, you know? So what are your thoughts here on the Orlando Magic?
Man, I was hoping you were going to give me yours first, because this Suggs situation is interesting. Like if Anthony is still out and Suggs is out again, we saw Franz play a little bit of point, and he did not have a great game. I played a ton of Franz in that spot. Last game against Dallas, obviously a tough matchup, but like he is a very good passer. I thought like his assist rate would go way up with him handling the ball a little bit more. The real problem, though, was he shot horribly. He shot 25% from the field. He's not going to do that again. If Suggs is out again, Franz Wagner is a smash play at 6,500, in my opinion. Like that's a great price with a guy who's going to be handling the ball a ton in a completely different role than we've seen him before. So Franz, I'm extremely interested in. The price tag on Banchero just it keeps coming up. There's still a ceiling there, so yeah, you probably play a little bit, but it's to the point where now he has to smash in order to pay that off. He's 7,900. We did see 2 games ago against Charlotte where he nearly put up the triple double. So if all of the point guards are out again, maybe like he's underpriced here, you could argue, because the peripheral stats are going to be so good. I don't know. This is an amazing matchup against Oklahoma City, obviously. I want exposure to Orlando and Oklahoma City. I want to game stack the heck out of this. I know that. The Banchero price tag is tough at when you first look at it. But when you consider the rule, if Jalen's out, somebody's going to be running point, handling the ball a lot more, and getting some more assists than usual. So interested in that situation. And then we saw Bull grab the start last time they were in this situation. He's 5,700. He had a pretty good game in that situation. I'd be willing to go right back there. And then my deep tournament guy, Mo Bamba, is a guy that I could see playing a few more minutes, and he's a guy that's a huge permit producer. Value is going to be tough on this slate, I think, unless we get a crazy Bulls situation where they're missing a bunch of guys. But for value plays, it's going to be tough. I don't hate Bamba as a sleeper. I didn't mention Wendell Carter. He's in play, but I think he's just kind of appropriately priced. He could smash Oklahoma City, who's bad against bigs. But yeah, I have a ton of interest in this Orlando side. You tell me what you think about. Like, I want to know your thoughts on the point guard situation. Like, if Suggs is out again, does Franz run it? Does Banchero run it? Like, there's some upside there for sure.
Yeah. Oh, that's tough. I think it's kind of a mix between Franz and Banchero. I mean, like, if Suggs sits again, you're getting Banchero with the ball in his hands a ton at a power forward position where he's really playing like ball handler, man. So if Suggs sits,
it's that point forward position. We just saw it with Scotty Barnes doing the same thing for Toronto.
Yeah.
Like that's so valuable. A guy that produces already in an off ball role now put the ball in his hands for half the game. There's crazy upside on somebody like that.
Yeah, I mean the upside is massive. So He's my favorite play. You mentioned my Let's Get Weird GPP play of the day.
Well,
Boyle
he's mine, so
Boyle.
you can't have. Oh, no.
Yeah,
Okay. I'm going even more
yeah,
off the board than that. We're good.
yeah. Boyle, man. Like the Magic, they love this dude. Like he has earned minutes, and he is everything they wanted Mo Bamba to be. So, um, yeah, I'm concerned about Mo Bamba's minutes, and I'm just concerned about his production in general because I really do think they've kind of shifted the guard here. Eventually Jonathan Isaac is going to get back and he's going to be good to go. And he's just an extreme athlete and he's very good. So we'll see how it all kind of ends up when that happens. But I don't think they're going to change Boyle. It's crazy, but yeah, you'll hear him later in the morning grind game. But yeah, I like him a lot. I don't mind Franz. Banchero is my favorite play from this game, from this team. He's just his ceiling is 50 plus, which is okay on a 4-game slate. And shout out to Richie Smalls in the YouTube chat. Wants to know 6 too many for this game. It's a 4-game slate. I still think I max it out at 5. What are your thoughts on that? It's a smaller slate, but I still think there's enough value in some other games where I think maxing it out as like a 3-2 is where I would end up. I'd probably end up more on a 2-2 in this game.
Yeah, like it definitely depends on value because Orlando isn't necessarily like they're not cheap. Like they're all underpriced, I would say. But like Franz is probably my favorite play at 6,500. Banchero is the guy with the upside I really want. Unless you're going Bamba over Bull, that gets like not expensive, but like I'm sure you're trying to pay up for a stud. Even if you're game stacking this game with SGA on the other side, you still want another stud from one of the other games in your lineup. I think 6 is too many. I love the grossness of this game, and I think there's going to be a lot of points put up from some random spots. But SGA being on the other side kind of makes this more expensive than just like a dirt cheap, like I almost want to call it like a vomit stack. It's really not that. It's 4 games, and we have not a ton of value at this point. So unless a ton of value opens up, I think that would be too much exposure to this game for me. 6 would be. I think 5 is okay. I agree that like 4 is the ideal number, I think.
Yeah, I think 4 is the ideal number. This game has the lowest total on the slate. You got to respect that a little bit too. I think there's a lot of fantasy goodness because the production comes from a few players on each team. Let's talk about the Thunder.
I do want to like if Suggs were to end up playing though, I have far less interest in this Orlando side. The part of the Orlando side that I'm interested outside of the big situation is the point guard situation. If Suggs plays, you might just play Suggs. I don't know. I think that takes away some upside. Like Franz is definitely not my favorite play in that situation. So Suggs questionable is definitely news I am monitoring for this game. Love the game environment overall, but Suggs playing would matter a lot for me.
Yeah, they play Golden State in Orlando on Thursday, so we'll see how that plays out. The Thunder side of this game, I don't think SGA will have the ownership that other studs, Curry, Kyrie, Durant, Booker, Towns, DeRozan have on this slate, just in general. Butler. I think SGA has one of the highest ceilings on the slate. Um, obviously Curry and Durant and Kyrie, they can get hot, but so can this guy. I mean, he's already put up over 28 points in 4 of 5 games. Points, not fantasy points, points. Magic don't play defense, man. I'm a Magic fan. Like they are 26 in defensive rating, or net rating right now, and like bottom 10 in defensive rating. So like I have a ton of interest in SGA in this game, especially already knowing like Baisley's not going to play again, or Giddey's not going to play again. So, ton of interest in SGA. I have a ton of interest in, excuse me, Dort as well. His minutes are through the roof right now. If this game stays close, they've already showed us that like if the game stays close, he'll get 35 plus minutes. He's 5,600. We don't have a ton of value yet on this slate, so yeah, I mean I don't mind him. Outside of that, I mean you can get into looking at a guy like Baisley in games that stay close, and he's playing well. He can do well. Jalen Williams had a insane game the other night. Coming back from what was it, eye injury or something like that, played 27 minutes against Dallas. He's 3,900. Depending on the Chicago value, I think we could see a lot of ownership on Williams in this game.
Yeah, I'll start with Jalen Williams just because I wanted to talk about him for sure. He did not start in this game. He did end up with 27 minutes. Like before, we're talking about Thunder guys like Trey Mann shoots a lot, but he doesn't have the best shot. Like his percentage is way down. Wiggins is a guy that has played a lot of minutes for them in the past, but he doesn't produce very much per minute. Jalen Williams at 3,900, I think it currently, as we sit, is the best value play on the slate. So that does help the game stack here. And like the Thunder side of this, you play SGA and Williams together. And that seems pretty reasonably as far as how much salary you're allocating to this Thunder team total. So definitely love the Williams call. SGA, agree with you, has a ton of upside here. Orlando doesn't play defense. SGA can literally do everything for this team. And again, like a lot of times you play SGA just hoping that he goes off so that the game stays close. Shouldn't really have to worry about it in this game. Like we have two bad teams here, which is part of why we like the game environment so much. It's a close game. I love SGA. I talk about the other two who I think have some upside, but have been very inconsistent are Trey Mann and Aaron Wiggins. Like, I don't know. They're not minimum price like Jalen Williams is. They're in like Wiggins is 4,400, Mann is 5,300. I'd much rather save the money and go down to Jalen Williams. You shut out Dort. I like that as far as a guy who could produce in this mid range. I think Dort is safer than Trey Mann or Wiggins. So SGA definitely the top target here. Jalen Williams to save some money. Absolutely love that as the Thunder of this stack. Mix in some Dort, and I don't hate it in large field if you want to try Trey Mann or even Aaron Wiggins.
All right, we finish it out with Minnesota at Phoenix. 2-hour gap between this game and the OKC game. 228.5 total in this one. Phoenix 5-point favorites. Anderson and McLaughlin questionable for Minnesota. Ayton and Wainwright ruled out. Craig questionable for Phoenix. Start here with Minnesota. Man, such a good basketball team. Just so much talent on this team with Towns, Gobert, Edwards, Russell. 4-game slate. Raw points matter. Pricing is tough. None of these guys are valuable right now, or have value in my opinion. I think if you're playing the price game, it's tough not to have a little interest in Gobert, but center is so loaded on this slate. Like, what are your thoughts here when it comes to Minnesota?
Yeah, Minnesota is tough at this point because even they're still working on how exactly they're going to distribute usage and minutes and everything between Gobert, just having two centers, like actual centers in Gobert and Towns. And then you have Russell and Edwards as well on this team who need usage. Yeah, I mean, it's a tough fit while they try to figure this out. I think by the end of the season, they're going to be a pretty efficient unit and they're going to be a strong team going into the playoffs. I don't know that they're there yet. They're still working on building the chemistry and figuring it out. So I think I would lean to the guys that can just get hot shooting. I guess that's 3 of the 4. But Towns is the most expensive, so I'd rule him out right away. I definitely want to pay up for like a Durant or a Booker on the other side more than I want to pay for Towns. I think Russell at 7K might be my lean right now just to save the money. Edwards has the ceiling. I certainly would never rule him out. Always in play. I think I lean the two smaller guys over Towns and Gobert. Like I think the center situation is more volatile. Like Russell and Edwards are going to get theirs, and I feels like they're just going to ride the hot hand. Whoever gets hot shooting is just going to put up a big score. So I don't mind exposure to them. I even on a 4-game slate, I don't know. I certainly wouldn't play more than two of these guys together. And I'll have to play with some lineup builds, but I might just say, give me one of these guys and not any more than that. Like I don't want to stack them up. They're all pricey. And it feels like only one of them can hit a ceiling at a time at this point.
Yeah. There's just no one like jumps off the page to me in Minnesota without any injury news. Like I think like if you're playing multiple lineups, you're just kind of rotating these guys. Like I know
Yep.
that sounds terrible, but I mean, trying to figure out like I think Towns would be my favorite. Gobert's solid. I think Towns being power forward eligible with so many good center plays on this slate, I lean more towards Towns. So that's not saying much. Phoenix side of this game, I mean, we knew that Minnesota's defense is going to change when Gobert came on this team. You have two of the top 5 defensive teams in the league, and you have number 1 and number 9 in net rating. Both teams just so efficient on both sides of the ball. What are your thoughts here on the Phoenix side?
Yeah, I mean DeAndre Ayton is still out, so I am interested despite the tough matchup in Minnesota. 4-game slate. I think Devin Booker is a phenomenal play. We've seen his usage rise in the past with DeAndre Ayton. Like the Suns, when Ayton is in there, a lot of times their first entry, like their first move on offense, will be to enter it into the post with Ayton. With Ayton out of there, they're not designing post moves or post ups for Bismack Biyombo or Jock Landale, whoever's in there. So it's Devin Booker's offense. Like he has crazy upside in the spot. I love Booker. Chris Paul he doesn't shoot enough for me. There's a ceiling there too because he can put up like 15 assists and grab some rebounds to go along with that. But pretty much just Devin Booker. Bridges is a guy that we've seen pop a little bit without Ayton. Like when Ayton is out, they do need somebody else to score, and Paul isn't exactly willing to take that on at this point. He's more of a distributor. So Bridges is kind of that secondary piece I would take a look at. The price has come up on him a little bit. Cam Johnson, kind of the same type of play. I think I would rather spend the Bridges than go to Cam. Biyombo is in play, but we've talked about the centers and how many of them we like. He's also no longer cheap because Ayton has been out the last few games. He's actually had some production. He's up to 1,500. I don't love that price tag, especially in this matchup against Gobert. I don't know. It's Devin Booker is the primary target, the guy I know I want. The rest are just kind of secondary pieces. Like even Landale is 5K. If Landale was 4K and he was going to see 25 minutes off the bench, like he's a guy who can produce huge per minute, I'd be interested. But that 5K is a tough ask for this. Devin Booker, that's what I want. And I know the rest is just kind of, I'm only playing them because it's a 4-game slate.
Yeah, I was quickly trying to pull up FanDuel and see what Landale, like they're sometimes a lot slower to adjust pricing. He's 4,800 over there. I mean, sites are getting it right. I think I would definitely. I just don't see playing him on FanDuel at 4,800 because he's center only, and there's so many good center plays on this slate that are center only. Like, luckily, like FanDuel, you can play Bam at the power forward as well. So, like with Towns as being a power forward eligible, but I would prefer paying the extra 1,000 for Boyo before I would play Jock Landale. Or just play Bismack Biyombo for like $200 more than Landale. So I don't love the matchup. I think I think this is a tough matchup for those big guys against the Minnesota Bigs. I think this is a game Devin Booker and Chris Paul show up and have big games. I think that's how they win this game. So if I'm looking at Phoenix, I'm looking at those two guys. I could see a wing like maybe Bridges like getting a few extra shot attempts in this game, and like on the way to like Chris Paul having like a 10 assists plus game. Bridges shooting the ball well, Booker shooting the ball well type game. So, all right, 4-game slate, morning grind game, and then get out of here. Favorite play under 5,000 DK scoring pricing to go 7x. Who's your cheap play today?
Yeah, this is Jalen Williams from OKC. I hope he doesn't start again, so it deflates his ownership a little bit. But I mean, they have to love what they saw out of him last game. If he plays upper 20s minutes again, he's a smash at 3,900.
Yeah, I like that call a lot. He was someone that I had written down for this. It's so hard to do this night before without like any kind of injury news. If one or two guys gets ruled out for Chicago, this is Caruso for me for sure.
Yeah.
Not knowing what's going to happen with that whole situation makes this tough. I don't know. I struggle with this one today. I guess I'll go Terrence Ross.
Ooh, I like your Caruso call a lot better.
No. Listen, Caruso, number one choice. Yeah. But if everybody plays from Chicago,
Yeah, if Io and Levine are in there, you can't do it, obviously. But just one of those guys being out, I think Caruso's absolutely in play for sure.
Yeah, because that was like, the situation with like Joe Harris and Seth Curry playing Joe Harris sit. Like, it's tough. Like, you took the layup. I mean, I'm going to call you out. You took the easy one today. So on a 4-game slate, there's not like 3 or 4 easy ones. Like
for what it's worth, I did have like Caruso was, as I was going through the games, Caruso was the name I had written down until I got to Jalen Williams. So I definitely agree. And even like he's going to play minutes even if Io and Levine are in there. So he could still hit some threes, rack up a couple assists. Like he's still in play at 4,300, even if Chicago plays everybody. 7x is probably out of the question.
The Terrence Ross thing is like, if he shoots the ball well, he can get 7x. And I don't think there's many other guys that are going to get 7x, but he's going to do it once every like 2 or 3 weeks. So, and he's not been shooting the ball well recently. Over 8,000 to go under 5K. Who's your bust today?
I'm going to go Kyrie. I prefer Durant pretty much every time I'm targeting a Brooklyn game. I don't know. I think it's a pretty much an average matchup against Chicago. I just like with KD and Kyrie on the same team. I don't want to play them both together on this slate. We just talked about in our last section how little value there is. So I'm not playing 2 studs from the same team together. I'll go overweight on Durant and just hope that Kyrie busts it. 9,700.
I'm going to go to the flip side. I'm going to say Kevin Durant.
All right.
I think Simmons plays. I think this game goes under, assuming the total is pretty high. I'm choking on my own spit.
Hang in there, buddy.
If you're watching live, you just watch my eyes just go super watery there. This would be something I usually would edit out, but not anymore.
The benefits of being live on YouTube, man.
Anyway, what I was saying was I think this game slows down. Brooklyn's on the second end of a back-to-back. I could see KD going 45 to 50 and having a really solid game here. But with Simmons back, KD playing just so many minutes every single night, tough matchup against Butler. I mean, you have to take someone in this game. That's what makes this game fun. So I like SGA. I like Booker. I like Curry. I like Towns. And then DeRozan, if those guys are out, I just like all those guys more than I like Durant and Kyrie. So I don't think I end up on either one of those guys. probably don't even end up on Curry a lot either. So, favorite 6x play today. Who you got going 6x today?
So Franz Wagner is who I'm going to say here. 25% from the field in his last game. Like, he's going to shoot better than that if he handles the ball a little bit more in this game. Outstanding matchup against OKC here. Give me Franz.
I'm going Bam. Center is loaded today. Don't get me wrong, but there's no one on that Golden State that's going to stop this dude. If they feed him the basketball in this game and he gets 13 to 15 shots, I think he can put up 50 plus fantasy points. So I'm going to go Bam in this spot. Let's get your GPP play of the day. Who do you got?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of already talked about yours. I'm thinking along the same lines here, but I'm going with the super cheap guy, Mo Bamba. He's probably not going to play a ton, but he can produce huge in a short amount of time. OKC struggles against bigs. We're both targeting this spot for Orlando. Bamba being 3,500. Just give me 20 minutes, and I think he can smash.
For what it's worth, if I was going to play a cheap Magic player, I'd play Chum Okeke. Okeke? Yeah, Okeke. For what it's worth. Like, if I was going to... Mo Bamba just hasn't done it. He's had years now to do it, and he just hasn't done it. Okeke was a first-round draft pick 2 or 3 years ago, missed the season for injuries. They bumped his minutes up here recently. He's one of the high-usage guys off the bench with some people out. So just saying. Just throwing that out there. We didn't really talk about him when we were talking about that game.
If Bull gets into foul trouble, who benefits from that? I mean, that's kind of what I'm playing for. Like, if Bull gets like 4 fouls in the first half and has to sit a bunch, like Bamba could, like, he's played 17 minutes the last 2 games. So it's not like he doesn't have a role at all. Like, give me an extra 3-4 minutes out of him. He's super cheap. If it was a 4-game slate, there's no chance I'd be considering this, but I'm willing to take a shot or two.
It was more bringing up Okeke because we didn't bring him up when we were talking about the Magic. And he has been playing solid minutes here recently. So it really is going to, like, the whole Magic game depends on Jalen Suggs, if he plays or not.
Definitely.
Mine is Boya Boya. I mean, we'll see if he's chalky or not. I think if Suggs comes back and he comes off the bench, we'll see less ownership, but we'll see, man. This guy, he's earned the minutes with the Magic, and they have a ton of interest in him in general here. So any bets standing out to you here night before?
So Golden State is underdogs going to Miami. I don't think Miami's as good as they were last year. I know Golden State has had their struggles to begin the year as well, but I think Golden State's the better team. Traveling across the country is never fun. But I'll shot on Golden State +1 going into Miami.
Quickly pulling up and seeing if any website has line for this. Okay, so FanDuel has Nets -2.5. Love the Bulls +2.5 in that game. And they have it at 233.5. I like the under of that game. So there's not a ton out on Sleeper today right now. So we might have to look at it tomorrow, and maybe I'll have to tweet something out because they have some lines up for the Miami game. I like the Bam over 30.5 points, rebound, and assist, but I was struggling to find like a pairing with it. Did you happen to look and see if there was anything that you liked?
Is the Phoenix scheme up yet?
It is.
What's Booker's points at? I'm target anything like 26.5. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. If it was 26.5, I love the over on that. I do like the over on 28.5. I don't know if it's a smash immediately. like he's been really good. He gets more usage when Ayton is out. Dude's been averaging almost 30 points a game. That was my initial lean is Devin Booker over on points. I was hoping it came out at 26.5 though.
Yeah. Listen, we're gonna roll with it. We're gonna roll with it. I'm gonna go Bam over 30.5 points, rebound and assists, and Booker over 28.5 points. 3x, laying it down, and playing it. There you go.
What about Chris Paul assists? Is he at 9.5?
I don't think they had his assist up yet. I already put this in though, so that's what we're rolling with. So
just curious. I would like Chris Paul over 9.5 assists if that's what it opens at.
It is 10.5.
Yeah, that's.
So we'll go with Bam and Booker. And
I love Booker. This is a great spot. Like I talked about, the usage goes up when Ayton is out. The offense is absolutely going to run through him. I bet this the other day, and he didn't hit because he just had a little bit of a cold night. But like I said, he's been scorching hot all season. Like this is an important game against Minnesota. Like they're expected to challenge in the West, and obviously Phoenix coming off a 1 seed last year, trying to repeat that. Like he's going to be out there for 36 minutes at least, probably.
There you go. All right, that's going to wrap it up here for Tuesday, November 1st. We'll be back tomorrow talking more hoops. Hope everyone has a fantastic Tuesday. We'll see you again on Wednesday.